If you're trying to move on and it feels like you can't, take a walk with me. I know, it feels like it's never going to be the same, and that's because it isn't. And if you can't acknowledge that fact for yourself, you're going to end up spending a lifetime trying to get back to a place that no longer exists. And the only place that it does exist is inside of your mind. And so you retreat there as often as you can, just so you can have a taste of a moment, a time, a place, or a person. Except each time you take that memory out to look at it, you change it, you manipulate it, and it becomes a fantasy world of potential that will never exist. And it doesn't mean that you can't still have all of those things that you desire. It just means that the circumstances have changed. And with that understanding, there's going to be a lot to mourn. You should allow yourself to do that and seek the guidance and assistance when needed. And I'm not saying don't go back to those places in your mind. Sometimes that's the only place we can go to see their face or hear their voice before it fades away. And one day that file in your brain will disappear and you'll no longer be able to hear it. And as sad as that might sound, it also means that you're healing. You are here, and there are so many people who love you that want to see who you're capable of becoming. And loss comes in many forms. Believe me, I've seen it. But the end result and the answer that you're looking for is generally the same. If it's revenge you seek, a life well lived is the best answer. If it's creating meaning out of crisis and despair, a life well lived is the answer. And one of the biggest and most difficult questions you're going to ask yourself is, what is the meaning in all of this? And the answer is, it's going to be unique to every individual. I know you want somebody to give you 5 steps for this, that, and the other thing, but this is about self-trust and learning to give yourself your own answers. Believe it or not, you've always had agency and choice, but you've been conditioned to give that away freely. And it's time to take your power back. So many of you will meander through life waiting for someone else to give you meaning and purpose. But the only person who can give that to you is you. You'll spend your entire lifetime looking for yourself in other people, which will leave you feeling lost, lonely, and deeply disappointed. Meaning what you focus on becomes the makeup of your life. If you don't have emotional regulation, if you don't have nervous system regulation, if you don't work on creating and generating capacity for uncertainty and disappointment and discomfort, your focus will always end up being on what's wrong, and that's going to paint the story of your life. And before you go there, I've seen you guys on social media passing judgment on people because you think they had some sort of easy button. They didn't. The only thing that really separates you from them is they believed they could, so they did. And if you're not connecting with that statement, then it's time to go listen to the Blueprint podcast. With increased capacity comes resilience and anti-fragility. And it's not that the challenges of life don't impact you. You just make a conscious decision of where your attention goes. I know, easier said than done. That phrase alone will leave you suffering for the rest of your life. And suffering is a choice. It all comes down to the meaning that you give to your experiences. This is why you do things like read books and listen to podcasts. When you make the decision to grow, develop, change, and evolve, it allows you access to give different meaning to your experiences. And if you listen to episode 97 of the podcast with Kira Devereaux, we tap into that. So if you're trying to move on, it's time to put the focus back on you and your well-being. It's time to make yourself a priority again, or maybe for the first time. And if you need help, book a call, comment coach, or head over to the link in my bio.